Hey everybody. Today I'm going to be playing Wingspan, which is a relatively new game by Stonemaier games, created by Elizabeth Hargraves. And this is an engine builder. And in an engine building game, you essentially use resources to, in this case, attract birds to your habitat. And then as you attract those birds to your habitat, it increases your capability to gain more resources and therefore attract even better birds. Now, I'm going to be playing against the Automa, which is represented by this deck of cards right here. Now, the Automa makes the single player game a little bit more competitive. Rather than just trying to beat the game or get a high score, instead you're playing against some artificial intelligence which somewhat simulates what it's like to play against a real player. I've got most everything set up here. I've got my player board, my resource tokens, the available cards, but I still need to draw my hand of cards as well as some bonus cards and prepare the Automa. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So, in Wingspan, you're always going to start by drawing 5 cards. And you can keep any number of those cards that you want, but the catch is that if you're going to keep one of those cards, you have to pay one of your resource tokens. So you want to be kind of strategic and identify birds that you're likely to play early on and then discard the rest. So this ruby-throated hummingbird, I'm going to keep him because he's going to allow me to gain food tokens. The prothonotary warbler, I'm not going to keep. He's worth a lot of points, but he costs quite a good bit, and he's not going to do anything to help me build up my engine. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard him. The turkey vulture is free, and he provides a good benefit, so I'm going to keep him. Wilson Snape is another cheap bird that provides me with a pretty good benefit. It's going to allow me to draw more cards. And then the gray catbird, that can be a great benefit to be able to repeat a power in a row, but he's kind of costly. I want to make sure I have enough resources to pay for the birds that I have in my hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to discard him. So that's going to leave me with the Wilson Snape, the turkey vulture, the ruby-throated hummingbird. I kept 3 cards, which means I have to pay 3, and I need to keep the invertebrate for the Snape and 1 of any kind for the ruby-throated hummingbird. I'll do a seed, and then the other 3 I have to discard. Now, in addition to drawing your bird cards, you also need to get a bonus card. To begin, you draw 2, and then you select 1. So I've got Backyard Birder and Enclosure Builder. So the Backyard Birder, based on the number of birds I collect that are worth less than 4 points, I can gain some extra points in the game. With the Enclosure Builder, it's based on birds that have ground nests. And one nice thing about the cards is it states what percentage of the cards in the deck actually meet these requirements. And we see that there's a pretty high number of Backyard Birders, and they're not worth a whole lot of points, but they're typically cheap, and they allow you to get a much bigger engine and to do much more in the game. So I'm actually going to keep that one. I'll discard the other one. And then the last thing I need to do to set up is I need to draw a card for the Automa. Now you just draw 1 card, and basically the Automa is not going to get any bonuses from this, but this helps to determine how the Automa makes decisions in the game. So he's only going to be able to select face-up bird cards with wingspans 30 centimeters or less. So that's actually pretty good for me. Those, again, usually aren't worth a whole lot of points. So that will restrict him in much the same way that I'm going to be restricted. Okay. And then we can just start playing. So essentially, you're taking several turns over the course of each of the 4 rounds, and to indicate that you've taken your turn, you're going to use these action point tokens. And there are 4 different ways in which you can spend your action point token on each turn. You can play a bird, which you would use this top row for that. And we can see that as we go up, we have to pay more and more eggs to be able to play birds along the board. Then another option is to gain food. Food is used to essentially pay for birds. And the more birds that we have in this row, the more food we get on that turn. We also get to activate the powers of all of the birds in that particular row. Lay eggs. So eggs are also going to be used to purchase birds, especially later on in the game. And again, the number of eggs we can get increases based on the number of birds we have in that row. And then lastly, we can draw bird cards, one of the 170 unique bird cards in the deck. And again, the more birds you have in that row, the more cards you can draw, giving you more options. So I'm going to start out by playing a bird. And the bird that I'm going to play is going to be the... Well, let's play the ruby-throated hummingbird. So to be able to play him, I just have to pay 1 food, and it's a wild food. That's what that symbol means. So I'm going to play my seed token to be able to pay him, and then that's the end of my turn. Now it's time for the Automa. So the Automa cards are separated by rounds. So this is the action that will be taken on this turn in this round, which is round 1. And what it does is he will get to lay an egg, and he will get to place an action point token on the end of round goal board. Eggs count for points at the end of the game. These count for points towards the end of the round. So take the action point token, lay it right there, and then we'll give him 1 egg into his supply. That's the end of his turn. He's only going to take 1 or 2 actions on his turn. So then it comes back to me. And now I'm going to play another bird. And this time I'm going to play the Wilson's Snape, which cost me 1 invertebrate. That's the end of my turn. Back to the Automa. And he's going to draw another egg. He doesn't have a second action to take, so he's just going to draw 1 egg. That's my turn. And I could play this turkey vulture. And I'll probably do that soon. But I'm thinking what I might do is play him now, because he's going to be activated by the Automa. Bird powers that have a background of pink, those are activated by the other players. The brown powers are activated by you, and I'd like to be able to play him soon. So I'm actually going to play him now. I'll just play another bird. Put an action point token for the last turn. And I'm going to play him here. He's free to play, so he's just there and available, and I don't have to worry about anything from him. So he's there, and now we'll go to the Automa's next turn. He plays an egg, and then he loses an action point marker from the end of round goal. So we're doing a good job of getting eggs for the Automa, but he's ultimately not scoring a whole lot of points, because for him, the eggs aren't worth all that much. It's now my turn, and instead of playing a bird card, because I don't have any left, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the 3 other options. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw some bird cards so that I know what kind of resources I need to collect otherwise. So I can gain 1 bird automatically. I can also pay an egg to gain another card, but I don't have any eggs right now, so I can't do that. I'll also get to draw a card based on the Wilson Snipes activated power. All players draw 1 card from the deck. So I'm going to get 2 cards anyways. And I'm going to take the black-billed magpie, which is another in-between turns action. So it's going to be activated by the Automa for me. And I don't like the other 2 cards, so I'm going to take 1 at random from the face-down deck. So that's going to be my Wilson Snipe power. And we see I got the white-crowned sparrow. When activated, this bird is to the right of all of the birds in the habitat. Move it to another habitat. And that's going to be the end of my turn. So here the Automa is going to take some food, and it's going to take that food from the bird feeder. Now, typically when a human player takes food, they get resource tokens based on that. The Automa doesn't need resource tokens because it doesn't have to pay for anything. It just automatically gets bird cards based on the cards that it draws. So instead what you do is you use this row to identify what type of food token it's going to take, and you simply remove that from the bird feeder. So we can see the first one is the invertebrate / seed die. That's in there, so we're going to take that out, and now nobody can draw that. If that die wasn't in there, we'd move on to the invertebrate. So that we would take out all of the invertebrate dice that are in there. But he's just taking that die. That's not going to be that costly for me. All right. So now it's my turn again, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay some eggs. I will need eggs to be able to play more birds, and also when I lay eggs, oh wait, I forgot something. So I forgot the second action for the Automa. The Automa activates all pink powers. So in doing that, I get to activate my Turkey Vulture, which is when another player's predator succeeds, I gain 1 food from the bird feeder, and his card activated that power, so it doesn't matter what the card requires to happen. I just get to do whatever is on that card. So I'm going to take 1 berry from the bird feeder. Now it's my turn. So again, on my turn, I'm going to take some eggs. Okay, I'm going to be able to take 2 eggs. When you take eggs, you have to play them on a bird, and you can see that each bird has a nest, a certain specified type of nest, as well as a number of eggs that it's able to collect. So the ruby-throated hummingbird can take 2 eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my 2 eggs on him. Then I move my action point token over, and I can activate the power that he has. So each player gets 1 food token from the bird feeder, starting with the player of your choice. Doesn't matter, I'm the only player that can take food tokens. So I'm going to take that rodent, and then that's the end of my turn. It's now the Automa's turn. So he's going to take some food out of there. We have to go all the way down to here to the invertebrate because that's all that's left in the feeder. He's going to take all of those out, which is okay. I didn't really particularly want those anyways. And now what we do is, since the tokens are all, or the dice are all out of there, we get to re-roll the dice and resupply the bird feeder. Okay. He also activates all pink powers again. So again, I get to take some food. So I'm going to take another berry. All right. So now it's my turn. And I'm going to, I guess we'll play this black-billed magpie, actually. So once between turns, when another player's predator succeeds, gain 1 food from the bird feeder. Again, that's just going to be activated by the Automa. So I'm going to play him in my second row. Now to play him in my second row, I have to pay the associated egg cost in addition to the food cost. So I have to sacrifice 1 egg, and I also have to give up 2 wild foods. So I'll give up my rodent and 1 of my berries. And that's the end of my turn. The Automa takes a face down card and also removes an action point token from the end of round goals. He doesn't have any action point tokens there, so he just won't take that action. But we'll do the face down card. Now when the Automa, I forgot to restock the face-up cards. When the Automa takes a face-down card, what you do is you take all of the face-up cards and discard them. Then you take, at random, one of the face-down cards and simply place it face-down on his board. Now, typically when a human player gets face-down cards, that's going to get them 1 point at the end of the game, which can be good. There are birds that allow you to accumulate a lot of those and can help you with your final score. The Automa, that's one of the main ways that it actually gets points, is through face-down birds. So it actually gets more points for it. And it's going to vary based on the difficulty level that you choose to play. For an easy level game, the Automa is going to get 3 points per face-down card, medium 4 points, and hard 5 points. We're going to be playing on easy because I'm just not very good at this game yet. All right, so now it's back to my turn. Now I could play this white-crowned sparrow, but I'm really just not that interested in his power. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw more cards. To restock the face-up cards. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the common raven. I'm then going to sacrifice an egg to draw another card. That's what this symbol means here. I can sacrifice an egg to take another action in this particular row. So I'll sacrifice this egg off of my ruby-throated hummingbird, which allows me to draw another card. I'm just going to draw a face-down card, which is the blue-gray gnatcatcher. When activated, gain 1 invertebrate from the supply. And then I get to draw another card by activating the Wilson Snipe. All players draw 1 card from the deck. And I got the Mountain Bluebird, which allows me to play 2 birds in 1 turn. Not so bad. So, that's the end of that turn. It's now time for the Automa. So he gets to draw a face-up bird. And this is where his bonus card comes into play. Restock this. He takes all of the birds that meet this criteria from the face-up selection of birds and keeps the one that scores him the most points. So, the Cooper's Hawk is 79 centimeters. The Peregrine Falcon is 104 centimeters, so he doesn't take those. But the Hermit Thrush is 30 centimeters, which meets the requirement. So that's the bird he's going to keep, and he actually gets a pretty big benefit from that. It's worth 7 points. All right. That sucks for me. It's now back to my turn, and what I'm going to do is just prepare to take on the next round. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to collect some eggs, just 3 eggs, and place those across my different birds. I'm going to want to play one there, and then that doesn't really matter. That I don't activate, but this one I get to take 1 food token from the bird feeder. And I want to get, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to get an invertebrate. And then that's the end of my turn. Automa takes its last turn. Now this is a special card. So some of the Automa cards, they're only in play for 1 round. So after this round is over, we remove this from the deck. And that has the effect of actually making the Automa a little bit more competitive because there are fewer cards from it to draw from, and the cards that are left give it better outcomes than the cards that we take out. So this one is to take some food from the feeder again. And the first one is the fish, so we'll take the fish out of there. And then it gets to place an action point token on the end of round goal. So that's the end of our first round. And at the end of each round, you're going to take your action point markers off of your player board. And then you're going to use one of those action point tokens to designate how you score in the end of round goal. Now, I'm going to score based on the number of birds, face-up birds I have in the grasslands here. And I've got 2. So I get 2 towards the end of round goal. But we're playing with the green side of the board, which means that we're playing based on placing. So whoever takes first gets the most points, whoever takes second gets less points. And you have to score at least 1 point to get a placement. If you don't get any points towards that end of round goal, you go over here, you get 0 points. You can also play with the less difficult side of the board, which just gives you points based on the number of times you meet the criteria. So I would get 2 points from this outcome. In order to determine the Automa score for the end of round goals, we can use this card, which allows us to see, based on the different possible end of round goals, how does he score. So for face-up birds in any of the different habitats, which is what we have, face-up birds in the grasslands, he's going to gain 0 points as a base. If it was one of these, he'd get 1, 2, or -1 points. And he also gets 1 point for every single action point token he has in there. So I've got 2 points, he's got 1. I take first place, he takes second, which means I'll get 4 points at the end of the game, he'll get 1. Pretty good outcome there. And then we basically just start all over again. We shuffle the Automa cards. We flip his cards that we're now playing in round 2. I've taken my action point tokens down. We can restock the available birds. Now, I'm going to be doing a longer version of this video where I continue on playing, but I'm also going to post a shorter version that will just cut from this point to the end of game scoring. So if you're watching that particular version, then I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click like, and if you'd like to see more of these videos, please click subscribe. So first let's total up what the Automa has, so we can kind of be surprised to see if I beat him. So birds, okay. Birds, you total up the number of points that he gets from face-up birds. So it's 4, 5, 9, 16 points. He then gets points for the end of round goal. He gets 1 point for there, 2 points for a total of 3 points. We split this round, so we split first and second place divided by half. I believe it's rounded down. So we're each going to get 4 points for that, and then he gets 4 points for the last one. So that's 8, 10, 11. He gets 11 points for end of round goal. Then we count eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then tucked cards. So these are the face down cards. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For him, that's multiplied by 3, so we get 21 points for that. Totaling that up, it's 27, 49, 50. He has 70 points. That honestly is kind of a weak game, even for the easy Automa. So I think I'm going to beat him quite handily, because I get points for all of my face-up birds. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 29, 32, 37, and 40. I get to total up my bonus card points. So birds worth less than 4 points. How many of those do I have? I have 1, 2. It says less than, so I won't count the eastern screech owl. I'll have to check the rules to see if it's less than or equal to. 3, 4, 5, 6, which is only going to give me 3 points. If I had counted the 4-point cards, I would have gotten the full total of 6 points. but I'll give the Automa a little bit of a chance here. Oops, 3, because I think I'm going to beat him pretty handily. All right, end of round goals. Again, we tied here, so I get 7 points for that, 4 points for 11, I get 5 points for 16, 4 points. I end the end of round goals with 20 points. Eggs, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Food on cards, I don't have any, because I didn't use that as a strategy, and I didn't really have any birds that allowed me to cash food on bird cards. Tucked cards, I don't think I have any. Yeah, I don't have any tucked cards. So I end the game with 40, 43, 63, 64, 84. 84 is greater than 70, so I've beaten the Automa on easy. Yay for me. So again, that's Wingspan playing against the Automa. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please click like. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please click subscribe.